supporting the work we were doing. He basically told us that all the people we were working with were...
What you been up to, man? We over here talking about depression and talking about coping skills and that sort of thing. What's up, dude? And then I'm about to switch over to games here pretty soon after we get done with this video. What you been up to, man?
Losers, and that there was no hope, and that we were doing a terrible job. We finished that meeting late at night. We were exhausted. We were
that
angry,
sounds like
we were
what
discouraged.
that sounds like what it's like to work in the mental health field, especially if you work in like community mental health. Just all of your managers are like, "You're doing a bad job. There's no hope." It's like, oh my god, this is so depressing. The good old days. I like it, man. Man. How are things going with Jim? Installed a toilet. Nice. Played some cards with the kids. Couple panic attacks, huh? Reorganized some Funko. I just like how you snuck that in there. What panic attacks about what, if you don't mind me asking and don't mind sharing? Like about the... And I know you said that you... Is your leg still really bothering you? I know that you said like with work that's really hard. God, I can't imagine. Or is it things about the lady friend? Really? Oh, dude, that sucks. What the heck? Oh my god, I know that you said that you're like in a situation where you're like, oh man, I need the surgery, but then I don't have I can't take the time off from work. And dude, that sucks, man. Sometimes the healthcare system in the United States just really pisses me off. Like, I don't know, it's just stupid. No one should have to live being like, oh man, I really need to get the surgery, but like I can't take time off of work, or I can't afford it, or whatever. Really, like, situation. I honestly have been like, yo, do I just need to morph this this channel into like a full-on like dating channel? I feel like probably a lot of people would be interested. I'm like, mental health is fine. We'll just talk about dating all night. Time off work is the worst. Yeah, dude. Are you still having issues with that? Ladies, friend situation, all kinds of crazy. Yeah, dude. I don't know, man. Relationships are hard. Only one you want to go for. Yeah, I mean, I think that's totally respectable if you just like really know that you want to try to make it work with someone. I think it's really hard if it's not. And again, I don't know the full details. I know you've told me a little bit about it, and I also don't, respect your privacy on stream. But for me, I've just had to do a lot of thinking in my relationships lately and be like, I feel like I'm a pretty empathetic guy. I will bend over ass backwards to try to help people, and I have to really stop and think about like, is this person putting in as much effort as I am to make the relationship work? And if they're not, then it's hard, man. It's a long journey to really shut everyone else out, if I couldn't tell. I know, man. But you're on your bro. But like, we've known each other since we were like fucking 5. Like, I've been on a huge mental health journey too, and I've seen you going through it over the years too. I mean, I feel like that's just how it is, though. We go through stuff in life, and it's oftentimes the most painful stuff in life that's the biggest catalyst for us to grow, and it sucks, but I truly don't know if it could be any other way in life. I think just as human beings, like, if it's not painful, it's not enough of a kick in the ass for us to really want to change, different steps and speed. Yeah, for sure, dude. Well, I'm glad you're here, man. And I think, I hope stuff with the lady friend works out. I think, yeah, I definitely, I feel like I like talking about the relationship stuff. So I feel like I definitely want to do that more on stream. Like, I'm fine with talking about general mental health stuff, but I feel like everybody is just so struggling with relationships or pain from relationships and that sort of stuff. So I'm always like really interested in talking with people about it. Relationships are a big thing for everyone. Yeah. Well, and I mean, I feel like they're a huge, yeah. I mean, yeah, friends, family, you know, romantic relationships. I feel like those things have such a huge impact on our mental health. So, yeah. Yeah, a lot of things I could say about that for sure. Have you also, when we get done with this video, I'm going to hop on and try Project Ethos. Have you been seeing anybody play that at all? I was talking to Dark King Charles over there about it. And I'm trying to convince him to play it with me, but has to get a beta key first.
We were ready to just quit in that area. And our leader listened carefully and he said, "Hermanos, go to bed. Things will look better in the morning." And he was right. After we...
Yo, have you also been playing TCG Shop Simulator? Oh my god. We and Manny and all of them have been playing it so much. That's so funny. Oh my god. Yo, that game honestly looks pretty crazy. Yeah, I see so many of like the really, really big streamers playing it. And I'm just like, dude, that's so crazy. Who'd have thought, man? All these years down the line and we're just still back in the old card game shop days.
Took a break.
Never went away.
Came back to the problem refreshed after a night's sleep. We were able to go back to that leader with clarity to, you know, confront the issue. And we were able to do a lot of good in that town. So, in this video, you're going to learn all about coping skills. If you're feeling like you're in crisis, if you feel like you're going to make bad choices, if you're afraid you might self-harm, or if you're just so emotional that you can't think clearly, HALT. Okay, this is an acronym to help you remember that if you're hungry, angry, lonely, tired, or if you're on substances, or if you're severely depressed or severely anxious or whatever, pause, slow.
John Expert 12, thanks so much for the follow. Welcome in, my dude. How goes it? How's your night going? Gives me the thrill without having to spend more money. I know, right? I know. TCG Simulator, like, oh man, it reminds me of the good old days.
Pull yourself down and reach out to the resources. So in the rest of this video, we're going to talk
about good, man. I'm glad to hear that.
You can use, and we're going to develop a little bit of a crisis plan for the people you can connect with in case, you know, something comes up that feels a little too...
I'm doing well, man. Doing well. Just talking about mental health and talking about depression and coping skills and all sorts of stuff. So you came in at a good time.
Too big for you to handle in the moment. Coping skills are activities that we can do that help us calm down. Many of the best ones incorporate brain and body and don't have negative side effects like emotional eating or drugs do, right?
Well, thank you.
This is just a short list. There are hundreds of things that people can do to calm themselves down. And as you may know from my previous video, why I hate coping skills, I'm obviously not a huge fan of relying only on coping skills, but coping skills really do serve an important function in the short term.
John Expert, do you have an interest in mental health stuff?
Calm down and make better choices. But coping skills do nothing to solve our problems in the long term, and some of them, if used exclusively, can be harmful. Coping skills help us take a break from our discomfort, but also from our life purpose. So that's why I get a little bugged when I hear that the only skill someone is learning in therapy is how to cope.
That's a very valid point.
To get through a crisis, to get calm, and then come back and resolve the problem. This ability to pause before choosing an action is an essential skill of emotionally resilient people. As we develop emotional muscles, we develop greater capacity to accept and resolve issues that come up for us. However, there will be times when we can't process the whole issue all at once. One definition of trauma is something that happens to us faster than we can process it. If we react immediately when we haven't had a chance to work through our thoughts, feelings, and physical reactions, then our actions often make things worse. On the other hand, if we just avoid the problem, we also suffer. So when an issue is just really big, or perhaps the time or place isn't right or safe for processing, we can use coping.
Do I have a YouTube channel? I don't currently have a YouTube channel for the stream, no. I am hoping eventually to get one started. I do have all kinds of other interesting socials if you're interested in giving it a look, though. Here's what all of the official channel socials if you're interested.
Skills to keep ourselves calm or safe until we can go back to the problem and resolve it. As you go through this list, it's important to find a few coping skills that work for you in various settings. So find some that you can use at home, some for work, and others for when you're in a group of people. So let's jump in. First, there's sensory coping skills. These are helpful because they incorporate various parts of the brain and body, and they can soothe the core brain, that limbic brain where the fight, flight, freeze response stems from. These include stepping outside for a breath of fresh air, taking a walk, listening to music, feeling...
I gotcha. Yeah, John Axpertude. So we don't actually allow soliciting inside the chat. I mean, you're more than welcome if you want to reach out to me on Discord or something like that. That's totally fine. But we don't allow soliciting inside the chat here, just to keep it free and focused on talking about mental health stuff and stuff relevant to the channel. So you're free to reach out, but please refrain from offering and soliciting your services out the chat. No worries, man. No worries. You're more than welcome to hang out and watch and talk about mental health stuff, though. We're about to switch over some games soon, so if that's interesting to you, then you're more than welcome to hang around and watch.
Like a child holding a blanket or an adult holding a rosary. Smelling an enjoyable smell, getting a massage, exercise, taking a hot shower or a cold face wash, knitting or sewing or building something. Now, let's talk about cognitive coping skills. These can help us process through the thoughts related to the emotion. So these can include writing everything down, like with a brain dump, journaling, meditation, mindfulness, prayer, coloring, guided imagery, and progressive muscle relaxation. Let's talk about active coping skills. These can help us feel safe and supported while facing challenges, right? So there's playing an instrument, making some music, humor, watching a funny clip on YouTube, watching TV. So be really careful. TV and most things with screens are powerful distractions.
Yeah, that's my favorite coping skill. I don't even know what you're talking about.
And essentially prevent the brain from resolving issues. So if you find yourself getting trapped watching too much TV, then I would say don't use this one as a coping skill. It's fine in the short term or even in a crisis, but...
Okay, also, I want to call out everyone in the community on this. I feel like it is so common for people to use video games as a way of escaping their issues. I've had conversations about this before with people where I'm like, I literally think all of the top streamers and all of like the top esports pros are really just people that either have ADHD or they have gaming addictions as a way of escaping their anxiety. I truly believe that. Manga is your escape. There you go. I mean, I feel like that's a pretty, like, I think like I would file that under reading. I think that's like a perfectly healthy coping skill. So, you know, so we were kind of talking, I've got like cute little worksheets that I run through with people. We're kind of talking about the different ways of coping with stress or whatever. We kind of talk about healthy coping skills versus unhealthy coping skills, just because I know that that's like a thing that people really struggle with, of the difference between like when you do your coping skill in the moment probably feels good, whether it's unhealthy or healthy, right? But then on the other side of it, you know, a couple hours later, do you feel like this sense of guilt and shame for, you know, the coping skill that you did? And if you did, then it's probably unhealthy. But if you feel fine about it, then it's probably healthy, you know? So, I mean, I think like manga or watching anime or whatever is like totally fine. I think that's like how a lot of people used to cope. Spending money is one too. Yeah. I mean, I would say if you have money to spend, that's maybe a neutral coping skill. But if you don't have money to spend, that's maybe not the best coping skill. Lord knows I do it though.
In the long run, it's not going to help you out. Some other coping skills include reading a book, doing a crossword, getting out in nature, planning
one load down out of 3. Nice, dude, that's awesome.
Or expressing your emotions through art or music. Okay, let's talk about some connection
expressing
coping
emotions
skills.
Through
hug someone, music. Pet an animal, talk it out with a friend, write a letter to someone, or write out your difficulty in an email.
I agree. I'm very disappointed in y'all. I have not gotten one offer from hugs from chat all day. I'm just saying, man. I can't practice my coping skills right now, you know?
Before talking with them. Now, using coping skills to avoid our problems can create a dependency on that activity. I've actually worked with people who have addictions to many of these coping skills. So I've seen addictions
exactly.
to TV, to shopping, to food, drugs, alcohol. I've seen addictions to Scrabble, video.
And so I want to maybe one day we'll have to spend a whole stream talking about like addictions and stuff. But so tying it into depression and anxiety, quite often people who have depression and or anxiety, because they lack coping skills or healthy coping skills, they'll develop maladaptive, unhealthy coping skills, which then become addictions. And so quite frequently, and I've actually worked in like live-in addiction detox clinics and stuff like that. And so I've literally worked with people whose lives have just been devastated by addiction of all sorts, drugs, alcohol, relationships, all sorts of stuff. And quite often, really at the heart of it, like people might be like, I don't understand how people can get addicted to drugs or whatever. At the heart of it, it's just coping skills. That person lacks healthy coping skills. And rather than picking something healthy, like, I don't know, journaling or meditating or hanging out with a friend, having a pet and hanging out with your pet, hugging your dog, whatever the case may be, you know, they do something kind of self-destructive, like doing drugs or something like that instead. You know, writing is a big one for you, but when I do it, it's because I'm either super happy or super sad. Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, I would say I don't journal all the time, but yeah, when stuff has been like, especially like lately with everything that's been going on in my life, I mean, now I feel like I'm in a place where I'm feeling pretty okay with my life, but when I'm not feeling like okay with my life, journaling is definitely something that I really use to for sure. So yeah, that makes total sense. I think writing's super good. Or sometimes I'm kind of like a talker as opposed to a writer. And so often I'll do like a video, or I mean an audio journal and record myself, but I've done both of those a lot recently. Written 7 books? What? Like you've like filled up 7 journals, or you mean like actually like writing like stories?
Video games, social media, eating, exercise, and other coping skills. So again, the way to tell if a coping skill is helpful is not only if it makes you feel good, but if it helps you return to resolve the problem. Healthy coping skills leave you feeling better the more you do it, but I mean better in the long run. So write down 3 activities that you can use to calm down when you're feeling overwhelmed with emotions, and try to think of at least one that will work in a different environment. So work, home, or school, etc. And then write.
Really? Yo, what? What is this secret talent that you've been having your whole life that I didn't know about? You write books, dude? What? Why have I not heard of this until now? What the heck? That's so cool. 7 books, each is a fantasy one that focuses on the people in my life. That's cool. Dude, that reminds me of way back in the day when you, it's a secret passion. Dude, I feel like that's everyone though. Like we all have this like secret passion that helps us like deal with stuff in our life, but because we're like, oh, it's not socially acceptable to talk about the fact that I'm a human being and every now and then I, you know, struggle with stuff or whatever, you just like keep it to yourself. Really? Dude, you know what that made me think of? That made me think of way back when you played Final Fantasy VII in the day and you named us all after like, or you named all the characters after like, you know, everybody. I still remember that. I'm like, am I still Sid? I don't know, man. Something about that. Definitely a large part of my life. I'm like, you know what? That was pretty accurate. I buy that. That's so funny. Man, that was the good old days, man. What a crazy ass life, dude. It's probably been like, what, almost 30 years at this point. Jesus Christ, man. I still remember your mom's old. Which house was it? I still remember the old house. I still definitely remember getting my front teeth like ripped out and we're roughhousing that one day. Man. Definitely the old now. Yeah, I know, right? Cool, John Expert. Thanks so much for reaching out, man. I'm in the middle of streaming, but maybe we'll talk.
Down 3 people who you could contact in case of a mental health crisis. Who are your 3 go-to people?
I think I was at your house every weekend for a year plus. I know, right? Yeah, man. I know. Even those days. Oh, man, it's been so long. like since the old school like card shop days and everything, getting together, playing Smash Brothers and DBZ, and that's so crazy. It's crazy how much we've all changed since then. That's cool though, man. I didn't know that you read books and stuff. I feel like that's like the same as music for me. Music is like my secret thing for whatever reason. Dark King Charles is just weird about emotions and hates music, so I just never talked about it.
You could call if you're in crisis. Now, if you're experiencing a severe mental health crisis right now, please go to your local hospital or call 911. And I'd like you to research for your crisis plan, you know, what are some of the mental health resources in your area? So what hotlines could you use? Now, for example, in my country and state, there are a few resources. There's the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, and there's Safe Utah. Both of these allow you to chat with a crisis counselor live, either on the phone or through text messaging. And if you'd like to learn more about coping skills and self-care, you can check out my course on that topic. The link is in the description. As you work to develop your coping skills, you'll develop a greater ability to slow yourself down, make better choices, and get through those crises that do come up. Thank you for watching, and please take care. This video is one skill from my 30-skill course, How to Process Your Emotions.
30-skill course. Wow, that's intense. It really started with the people I dated, but it had to write prequels. That's cool. Dude, oh man. I feel like writing a story about the people that... So tell me more about this. Is this... So you said this like fantasy though, and so it's like you guys are both protagonists in the story. Is that how you work? I feel like it'd be something about like the idea of writing stories about exes. It sounds almost traumatic to me. I don't know why. Just thinking about like, I feel like it would make me sit there and like ruminate about like, oh, how things could have been different or whatever. And then, oh man, I feel like it would be. So it's interesting that that's like a helpful coping skill to you. That's really cool though. Okay, I think that's essentially it for talking about depression, guys. We're like literally over 2 hours into stream here. So it's like traveling to different worlds and collecting people to join my life. Yo, that's cool. Reminds me of the new totally nerdy illusion that no one's gonna get. They made a new Sonic cartoon that I was like watching the other day. It's like going to different dimensions, and every dimension is like a different version of like Sonic and all the characters and everything. So it's my life, man. It's what I thought about. Yo, speaking of which, hold on. There's a new Sonic game coming out next week. I'm definitely gonna play the crap out of that on stream. That's cool though. Traveling different worlds. It almost sounds like a JRPG, honestly. You just need to take all those books and turn it into a JRPG. And then my brother would play it. Like, whoa, what is this combat system? Okay, I'm gonna switch over and I want to try out Project Ethos because I promised Flame that I would play it. He's not around tonight, but that is okay. I still would really like to try it because it looks fun. So hold on, let me figure this out here. Don't use anyone's actual name, but their personality. Gotcha. I feel like my personality has changed over the years, so I'm curious as to how you portrayed me. Dysfunctional me or a new not dysfunctional me? Okay, how do I open this thing up? That's so funny. Yeah, I mean, even just thinking about how much we've all changed over the years, dude, is so crazy. God, even like me versus how I was in my 20s, I'm like, oh my god. And then I'll date someone that's like younger in their 20s, and I'm like, yeah, that's where I was. I'm just crazy and dysfunctional. I'm like, yeah, you got about 10 more years before that'll iron out. Whew. Project Ethos. It's just egotistical and emotional. I mean, I feel like I should be offended, but I also feel like that's accurate. So, you know, have the greater good in mind. There you go, you know? Chaotic good, you know? I was probably chaotic neutral or even chaotic evil in my younger years. But, you know, we kind of pushed into chaotic good now. Seen a lot. That's funny. Okay, how do I switch this thing over? Also, this game is just totally dead. Oh, we loading shaders over here. Okay. Oops. Need to make yet another scene here. This game looks like Fortnite mixed with Overwatch, y'all. Oops. There we go. But the world you guys came from was an old medieval world. Well, my brother would be very happy to hear you say that. Did my brother have a giant sword and shield in this novel of yours? Oh my god, don't actually make me scroll through EULA. Of course he is a paladin. Oh my god. My brother needs to read this now. Project Ethos. 1.3k live viewers. Interesting. Also, I feel like this audio is kind of noisy. Let's turn this down just a tad. Oh, my nose is itching. All right, we gotta update our thingy here, chat. Okay, I promise I'm gonna play this at least a little bit before bed here. Actually, you guys were warring over being the next king. He didn't want to do it, but you did. Because he was older, it had to be him. Long story short, faked his death and left the world so you could be king. Bro, I don't know if my brother's that selfless. I mean, he is Dark King Charles after all. That's so funny. You know what I think of when you say that? Makes me think of those two characters in League, like the Paladin King guy, and then there's what is it,
Hello there,
Darius?
Hero. I'm Widget, your inspired and newly required personal assistant.
I'm like, that would definitely
Welcome
be
to
awesome if we're in
Ethos,
League.
a virtual reality simulation designed for humanity's fight against Sierra. We're standing in our central hub,
Sierra.
a place where Foundation heroes come together, research, and train.
Probably
Let's take a
back
tour
to
of
make
our
sure you
faction
didn't get
leaders and
corrupt.
training modes, starting with Davi.
I mean, I'm not saying absolute power wouldn't corrupt me.